Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Comic Book Wednesday. And yes, I don't have anything on my side today, unfortunately. Nothing really that interesting going on. I do have a story to tell you though. It's about how people are actually nice in this world still. So, I went to my local comic book store today and, you know, doing the usual picking up the comics, gonna go pay for them. So it's like, yeah, I'll go do that. And I noticed that there is a variant for a comic, which we're going to look at later, that was very cool. I really liked it. It was a very interesting design. Um, so I decided, hell, why not try to pick it up? Okay. It was $20, so I was like, crap. It's going to be like $30 for comics, even though I'm only getting 4 comics today. Man, I hope this is worth it. So, I'm just picking up the rest of my stuff. I go up to the counter. And the guy just goes, oh, 25. I'm like, okay. So I didn't even have $30 on me, so I'm like, oh crap, how am I going to pay for this? I'm like, okay. And it's like, hey, cool. You know, because there are nice people in this world taking a bunch of money off a comic just so you can pay for it. $8 or, yeah, no. $6 is not a lot to take off. It's like $31, 32, so $6 or $7. That's like 2 comics, one large comic. But still, taking a whole comic or 2 off is very cool, very very nice. So I want to thank my store. I'm not giving out a name yet, but I want to thank them because they're pretty cool. But anyway, let's go into the actual comics for this week because we want to see them before we read them. In a way, even though I'm the only one who's going to be reading them. So, shh. Anywho, our first comic this week. Oh, these are all from DC, by the way. Just wanted to mention that. Wink. But our first comic this week is Nightwing number 22. And of course, against the man who murdered his parents. If you guys don't know what's going on in the Nightwing storyline, that man is Tony Zuko. He is fighting him. And as you can see in the background, he's the one who killed his parents. Or you can see that he killed his parents because it says right there he murdered his parents. Anyway, so we might get the conclusion of that storyline. Probably not. We're only, let's see, Death of the Family ended at issue 16. And then they had a one issue talking about the aftermath. And then they had the Requiem. So issue 19 they started. And so this storyline might come to an end today. I'm possibly thinking it might. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm also looking up at my comics, as you can see. As you can see, up there is Nightwing number 19 or 18. So issue 19 is where it started with the prankster. So that's possibly it, because he does go to Chicago in that book. So that's where I'm possibly thinking it starts in issue 18. So this might be the end of the storyline. I'm just blabbering off the top of my head, but I'm a huge Nightwing fan. That's why I'm really blabbering, and I really like this. But it's probably not going to be the book of the week for people. Well, let's continue on and see why. Now we have Justice League number 22, and I usually don't pick up Justice League. I'm just not the biggest fan of it for some reason. Jeff Johns, his writing style is iffy. He can write some really good books, and then write some really bad books. And hopefully this isn't a bad book. First, we have Trinity War Part 1 for the Justice League battles. Justice JL, JLA, and JLD. Because you need to know all the names for who was fighting. Of course, up there, Phantom Stranger. A very cool character. I'm looking forward to reading about him, even though, I didn't really read about him in the Trinity Wars of Sin, but who cares, because I don't read tie-in books. Sorry, but, very looking forward to this book. I just hopefully there's a battle. Hopefully there's the beginning of a battle, at least. And I like how they have the 3 of the main Justice League members on this cover. Hopefully the next one they have the main JLA members on that, and then the JLD, which, from what I've seen, is probably going to be true. And it's interconnectable, so I can't hang this on my wall till I get the first 3 parts. After that, we have Batman number 22, part of the 0 Year saga, which, is going to be a while. I'll tell you that, but it's going to be good. It's good so far. I love the first issue. It was definitely a great issue. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo do it again, and worked very well for it. But man, I wonder what's going to happen this issue. There's so much that can happen in the Batman mythos that you really wonder what they can pull off. It's already kind of iffy that they already pulled off another, to try to do their year one, and it's working already. Like, it's actually pretty good. So let's hope that they continue along with it well. But finally, the big one, Superman Unchained #2. And yes, this is the variant I got. As you can see in the corner, $19.99. A $20 variant I got for $10. It is a Bronze Age variant, and I loved it because Superman's gonna fight a mega robotic T-Rex. What more could you ask for? Yeah, this cover is really sweet, and possibly, I'm hoping that this will be the best comic of the week. Let's just say that right now. But I can't tell you until a couple seconds from now. I'm just blabbering off the top of my mouth now. So, with that being said, let's go to the future, which in the future being about 5 seconds, and let's talk to me. Alright guys, welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays. I apologize for any screw-ups in this video, my fault. I don't know. Things have been really good and screwing up for me when I've been recording lately. I recorded a huge video coming up, and that's not even about comic books, about music, coming up in a couple of days, weeks. I don't know, I filmed it, I just need to edit it, and it's going to take me some time. And I apologize for the hair, because you know what? I like taking naps. So, and I don't like getting dressing up. So, with that being said, the cake is real, according to Deadpool, breaking fourth wall. Let's talk about the comics we picked up this week, which unfortunately is not even you. Alright. So this week, let's start off with the lesser one. Nightwing #22. Now, again, I'm talking about Tony Zuko and how he's the one who killed Nightwing's parents. And yes, we need to figure out what is going on with that. Is Nightwing ever going to find him? Is he going to get out there? Because the Chicago mayor has been protecting him under a false authority name. And Nightwing's trying to get the mayor to release the fact that his name is there. All the meanwhile, the prankster's pulling off his own little scheme. And I love this book. This book is great. It definitely is filled with the conflict that Nightwing needs as a premature adult, basically. Coming out from being a kid for almost all his life, hanging out with Batman, going into the full thing, and discovering one of his major life-threatening situations, and getting that all situated, knowing that this can be complete, and that his parents can have the respected burial, and knowing that their killer's been put away. So he's really trying to do this, and it's great for what it does. The story definitely reflects that. Definitely, they changed the artwork. They have a different artist this time around, and I liked it a little bit more. It's smoother in the way. I think it's a lot smoother than most other books out there. I'm kind of weird like that. It's smooth. But then again, it works for the book. With that being said, you know, the ending is probably the best part of the book, though. It turns dark, really dark at the end of the book, and I'm very surprised that kind of went that far with the book. But what can you say? Things need to be taken, and this is not the end of the storyline. We have to wait either a month or another month for it. We'll never know. Probably next month they're probably going to end it because they need to do that whole villain month. Just like last year they did the 0 year. And then Nightwing doesn't have any villains in the month, I believe. He doesn't have any villains in it. So they're probably going to end it next month, so that you don't have to wait 2 months for the next Nightwing issue. So that's it for that one. Let's go on to the next book, which will be Justice League #22. Now we're finally beginning this Trinity War. And previously, Shazam finally apparently killed Black Adam. I didn't read the Justice League comic, and that's where it's basically starting off. Billy feels like he wants to spread Black Adam's ashes in the place where he lived. Crosfagia? I can't remember the title on the top of my head, but he feels like it's his duty to put his ashes over there.
And what a dumb move. Because Wonder Woman and Superman had to go over there anyway, and the government over there is kind of already conflicted and wants to already, like, kind of do that. So when they hear word that Shazam flies over there, they gotta go over there. In the meantime, you have to also deal with Pandora along with Superman and Wonder Woman, how she's interconnected with the Trinity War in general between the all 6 issues. And what she has to do with the New 52, because basically she started this whole thing. And towards the end of the book, it gets screwed up at the end of the book. It's good and bad at the same way, though. That's my thing about it. It's good because it creates this conflict, but it's bad because it doesn't show you all the conflict, though, if you get my drift. It shows you the conflict between the Justice League and the JLA, but it shows no conflict with the JLD. I know we're going to be saving that for the weeks to come. However, I don't want to wait for the weeks to come. I want to know about it now. I know it's weird, but it's just like, you're trying to get this out as best as you can, but you didn't even show it. I mean, come on, I thought that was the point of it. Anyway, I really did enjoy this book. I'm looking forward to next week I believe it's next week. Yeah, next week. We'll talk about that later. The second part of the Trinity War, which we'll probably develop more into it. Yeah, but I loved it. Next we have Batman number 22, or part 2 of Zero Year. Now we're finally getting a definitive moment for Batman, more with the Red Hood gang, and he's finally gonna he's still gotta figure out what he's gonna do with that. He's still trying to get the crime rate down, and he feels that as soon as he can get the Red Hood gang out of Gotham, he feels that he can technically come back to Gotham and renounce he's alive. Because people think he's dead, literally. They just think Bruce Wayne died somewhere. And Alfred gets fed up with it, honestly. There's a scene with him and Alfred that is just awesome. Alfred just, like, tries to convince him. It's basically like that scene. There's a scene in Batman Earth 1 by Jeff Johns that I loved. It was a conflict between Batman and Alfred there, too, and it was pretty good. I really did enjoy that scene, and they kind of did that in here, too. At the same time, they didn't. But I really did enjoy it. And we finally get a little definitive between the Batman villains in the universe, too. You get a interaction with Batman and Mr. Enigma. Yeah, we all know who that is. Which is probably why Scott Snyder is writing the Riddler section during the Evil Villain Month, Super Villain Month. He's probably writing it because the Riddler is probably going to be more of the major villain for the beginning of the Zero Year for Batman. Which isn't saying that Penguin or Joker or like any of the other villains are doing bad. It's just that that's the case. Which I'm looking forward to that issue. That's probably going to be probably one of the best issues. But other than that, there's a kind of a scene where Bruce Wayne as a child falls into where the Batcave is, but they never go back to it, which kind of sucks because they were really leading up to that in the last issue. And there's a weird panel that, because I guess they couldn't do a certain amount of pages, they just decided, let's do a one-page circular dialogue. And it's not confusing, it's just, why is it here? It's really dumb. I want to see the interactions between the characters. They show little bits of it, but it's like, what is this? This is really dumb. But fortunately, that's how the way did it, which kind of brings it down a little bit. This issue wasn't as good as the first issue, but I'm looking forward to it more. I'm not saying that I'm not looking forward to the rest of the issues. I'm just saying that this issue wasn't as good as the last one. I'm not saying this issue is bad. It's definitely a good issue, but I like the first issue more. I'm looking forward to more. What can I say? I'm not going to stop reading it because I thought there were some things wrong with it. I mean, like, Batman issue number 19 and 20 were probably the ones that I'm kind of iffy on, which I was like, maybe this is not where Scott Snyder needs to go. And plus, it was the beginning of the Zero Year, so I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Should I still collect it? And I'm like, it's Batman. I bet they'll redeem themselves, and they did. They did redeem themselves. I'm not gonna stop reading it. I don't know why I went on a rant there for a little bit, but what can I say? Just when things sound like I'm saying, like, oh, it's bad, it's not bad. I'm just going to say that there's some things that don't work. Well, let's finally get into the last comic, Superman Unchained #2. By the way, this is the Bronze Age variant. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it's the Bronze Age variant by Victor Anabaz. I don't know, something weird, but I love it. Giant robotic T-Rex, guys, come on. Basically expanding on what the last issue kind of was, investigating the satellites that fell out of the sky, trying to basically get Superman's, conflict in there, trying to figure out what the Army is up to as well, what the U.S. Army really has to get up to. And what does Lex Luthor have to do with point with this? They answer that question in the book. What does Lex Luthor have to do with this? What does Lois Lane have to do with this? What does Superman even have to do with this? And you get a little bit more conflict in there. You see Superman, at the beginning of the book, he has to save a building, one of the world's largest building, and it's of course in Metropolis. It's fallen to the ground for some reason. Someone attacked it. I don't know exactly what attacked it. It was a giant dude and a robot, or robot, whatever, and they show an everyday kind of occurrence for Superman what basically is his thought process in his head, trying to figure it out, and how he does it and how he succeeds. And of course, he's trying to figure out the rest of it plot. And of course, he goes to a friend of his, which I'm not going to spoil because it's actually a very, very good scene in the book, where he talks to a friend about the conflicts that are going on right now. And of course, how is he going to figure this out? What is going on, really? And it also leads into the back issue as well, which is very good. I like the back issue as well, which is also written by Scott Williams and Scott Snyder. So it works well together, definitely. And of course, I can't really spoil more because it's so good. I can't really spoil more. Again, the ending of issue 1 comes back into issue 2. You'll see what I mean. Why the Army is involved with that whole thing. And the whole 75 years aspect, if you know what I mean. Again, I want people to read this. That's why I'm trying not to spoil it. But definitely, it's great. But, with that being said, does it make the #1 spot for this week? Well, let's check for the top 3. And the top 3, let's go with number 3. Now, number 3 I've had conflicting issues with. Personally, because all 3 issues that I thought for the top 3 and for 4th place, which I won't even consider a 4th place because, it's there. They all were just like, they're all like equally good. They all have their flaws and they all have their great moments in there. They're definitely, all the issues this week are great. I wouldn't recommend not picking any of them up. I definitely want you to pick them up. But the ones I want you to read immediately and you need to get, if you have to get an issue, that's what I'm trying to think. What would my readers want to do? What do I want to do? Well, what can I say is, I'm kind of shocked for this week, I'll be honest. I wasn't really expecting for this top 3 to happen, so why don't we begin with my number 3 choice. Batman, number 22. And I know, you're kind of thinking, Batman's one of the lower ones this week. Usually he's in either the 2nd place or the 1st place. He's in 3rd place. Sorry, my Xbox is on. Yeah, he's in 3rd place this week. Unfortunately, I really liked it. I really thought it was great. But there's some conflicting issues in there I had with it that just hadn't lowered down. Unfortunately, that's why I had to make it 3rd place. Now, 2nd place, you're already kind of shocked already. You already think it's 2nd place. It's either the Justice League, the one he barely ever picks up, or is it Nightwing, the one that he loves to death, but he did have issues with in this comic. I did have issues with it. I don't know. It felt kind of weird how they presented some of the things with the prankster and with Tony Zuko in general. There's a couple issues in there with the book, but there were issues all around for both issues. But Batman definitely beat one of them, and another one definitely beat Batman and the other issue. Which was that, you might say? Well, clearly, it's Nightwing 22. I'm not saying that just because I'm a Nightwing fanboy. I've barely put Nightwing in the top 3, ever. Okay, guys, I just want to say that. I barely put him ever in there. And this is the first time he's actually really gotten high. 2nd place is high standards for a book like Nightwing. It's a $3 book too, which, you know, what can I say? You guys already know what number 1 is. I already spoiled that. I apologize. But Justice League, for what it was great. It was great. I really did like it. It just wasn't as good as Batman was. But it doesn't want me to stop reading it for right now. I'm probably going to read it and then probably stop after I'm done with the Trinity War. Because, again, Jeff Johns' writing, you know, I don't really like it that much. It's kind of all over the place sometimes. It can get like that. Definitely there is some problems with the book, definitely. Like, there's some characters are just really stupid. What can I say? Shazam. They're really stupid. And it's just like, I don't know. The artwork is good. What can I say? I want to look into more of it. What can I say? But again, number 1 this week. Superman Unchained number 2. I'm not a fanboy of Superman. I think he's one of the overexposed superheroes, if you know what I mean. But it's a good comic is a good comic. Okay? And Superman Unchained is a good comic. You need to go pick that up. You need to get that book. And I bet a lot of shops have a lot of it. I'm telling you that already. A lot of shops have it. And try to find the one with the variant with the dinosaur, because, what can I say, dinosaurs are cool. So that being said, let's check into next week. Now, next week, I'm very happy with. Next week, because we have a good, decent amount for both companies. Yeah, both companies look to be at least getting 2 books in. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm actually getting 6 next week, which is great. But only one company's just going to get 2. I'm talking about DC, since they're probably going to be the lesser of the group. Batman 66, number 1. Now, if you don't know what this is, they take the Adam West TV show and made it into comic book form. I'm looking forward to it because not just growing up, but like recently, I've been watching it, and I just find it hilarious how campy it is. And yeah, what can I say? It's an old Batman TV show brought into comic books. They're gonna have like this weird like writing style into a comic. Wow, I can't wait for that. And of course, next week we also have JLA number 6, which is gonna be part 2 of the Trinity War. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I've read every issue of the JLA up to this point, and it's the story arc before this was okay. I'm gonna admit it was just an okay story arc. The ending was probably the best part, but this issue, I'm looking forward to it because Jeff Johns is basically taking from what he took in this book and putting it in the next one, which I thought this book, Justice League number 22, basically taking that into JLA number 6. It should be good. I don't know if it's supposed to be from a different perspective, because they took it from the JLA's perspective in this book as well. So it's probably from all over the place. Hopefully get Justice League Dark in there. Okay? Don't leave them until their book comes out. I want to know what happens to them now. God, ranting. Anyway, let's go into Marvel for next week. Now, Marvel has a lot kind of going for them. In a way, let me be honest, it's kind of weird, but we have some good books coming out next week. Of course, let's start off with Thanos Rising number 4. We're going to get into the Infinity Gauntlet now. Kind of like pushing all the Infinity Gauntlet series into one book. That's what I'm kind of thinking it's going to be, but at the same time, you never know. And then next, What If AVX number 2. As you saw at the end of AVX, What If AVX number 1 from 2 weeks ago, or actually last week, it got kind of dramatic, so we're going to see what happens there, how this is going to change, and what it's from looking from, it's going to be different. It's already been different, but it's going to be even more different. After that, we have a new series coming in, a 5-part miniseries. In support of Superior Spider-Man Month, we have Superior Carnage number 1. Now, the reason I am actually picking this book up is because I love Carnage. I love both the character, and I love both the destruction and carnage that the character brings. As you read in my Carnage Family Feud book review, I actually have a review for it on my channel. Go check it out. A lot of people actually like that review. I love the book. Well, I didn't love it. I really like the book. I keep reading it a lot recently, and the artwork for that book was really good. And apparently, they're taking that same artwork style into the Superior Carnage book, which I'm very excited about. It'd also be kind of nice to see how Doc Ock Spider-Man kind of reacts to Carnage, because they haven't really like teamed up before, and they're gonna kind of maybe fight in this book. But it's a 5-part miniseries. I'm looking really forward to it. And probably the biggest book for me next week, well, just for me, for you, it might be something different. Probably Superior Carnage #1, but for me, Nova #6. Oh my gosh, love Nova. Ended the first part of his story arc and going into a new story arc. Nova is definitely that character that's awesome. Okay, Jeff Loeb, love you, and Ed McGuinness, love you too. You both made an excellent book. I won't be surprised if you guys don't stay on to this book for like years to come. It's gonna be good. Just hopefully the TV side of you, Jeff Loeb, doesn't go into this side of you, the comic side, because that will make me kind of mad. Because you've made some mistakes on the television point of view from Marvel, and the comic side has been great for you, but the TV side is just poop. I'll be honest. With that being said, thank you for watching this incredibly long Comic Book Wednesday. Well, it's usually about 20 minutes. It's probably about 30 minutes now, but I apologize if it is a little bit long. But, you know, what can I say? We love to talk about comic books here. Again, like I said, if you thought I should have picked something up this week, leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely take a look at it and see if I have an opinion on it or not, or if I have never read it before, take a look at it once I go to a comic book shop. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what's up to come for next week and for actually the rest of the summer, pretty much. It's pretty going to be good. I'm pretty much admitted this is going to be a good summer. So, with that being said, this is Sonic Fable, signing out.